Anna, followed by Candace to do a eulogy for Dario.
Thank you, Leanne. Okay, that was perfect. Oh, yes. See you at church tomorrow. Thank you all for coming. For those of you who don't know us Kellers, I would like to take some time to let you know about a little love story. In August 1962, my love story began. An unforgettable love. I arrived from the Azores at the age of 4 with my mom and my 2 sisters, Fernanda and Nana, and we came to Canada to live with my dad on St. Julian Street to start a new life in Canada. Being kids, all we wanted to do was to play outside and get to know the neighborhood kids. And this beautiful lady 2 doors down was sitting on her porch, and she was speaking to me. And I understood this language. I didn't know what she was saying, but I thought, I understand her. And I went up to her and she had said, if you come here and sit on my lap, I will give you one of my sons. Wow, wow. How could I pass up that deal? I thought, this is great. So I thought, what is she speaking? Well, we spoke Portuguese, but she was speaking Italian. And I thought, wow. I ran up to her and I sat on her lap, and there was this cute little cowboy, and he had this little hat on and this shiny little guns, and I said, I'll take him. That's the one I want. So I fell in love with my little cowboy named Dario. He was a bit shy, but he had the biggest smile and the shiniest guns, that little cowboy. So we began this friendship. He was my first love. As we got older, Dario, he bred pigeons, and he gave me this beautiful roller pigeon, and I couldn't believe this amazing gift, crazy pigeon. And I took it home, and I said to my dad, look what Dario gave me. And my dad says, querida, que vais fazer com isso? That means in Portuguese, sweetheart, what are you going to do with that? And I said, I'm going to love it. I'm going to care for it. So Dario and my dad proceeded to build a pigeon coop. Dario was always giving me things. We would play down by the creek and at the river at St. Julian Street Park, and he would get these duck eggs, which you're not supposed to get from their mothers. But he would take these duck eggs, and we ended up hatching them out. He would bring me snakes from the river, and I thought, oh, I wasn't too excited about that. But we hung around and had a great time. I hung around with this guy named Steve and Wolfgang and Dario, that was his buddies, because I was a tag-along girl. In the summer of 1974, Steve Bantock asked me if I'd go on the date, if I'd be his girlfriend. And I thought, well, no, I can't. So I told him, I don't think my parents will let me date a Canadian boy. But I was really waiting was for Dario. And I was hopefully waiting that he would ask me out. You see, Dario and Steve were best buddies. They grew up just down the street from each other. And I knew that Dario was planning some beach date with his Steve's sister, Susan. And I thought, what the heck? So I thought, Dario was telling me this because I was his buddy and he kind of just confided in me. And I thought, okay, what the heck? So I was going to say the other word, but better not.
I'm behind you. It's your show. No censorship.
No censorship. So oddly enough, I cut my hair and I started thinking, oh, I'm kind of hot. I was starting to fill out a little bit and I was thinking that, Dario was going to finally notice me. And I noticed that he started talking to me about Susan again. I'm like, oh goodness, this Susan. So I thought, okay, he's planning this beach date with her. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm sitting there on Sharon's porch. She was the neighbor that lived between us. And I sat there and I said to her, I'm going to do this. And she goes, what? And I said, well, I'm going to do it. So I leaned in, Daryl's talking away, and I grabbed him and I kissed him. I thought, there, how do you like that? you know? And he just was kind of shocked. He was just like, what? And then he kind of looked at me and he just kind of grabbed me and he gave me this kiss. And lights out. I was over the moon. I ran home, told my parents that I was going to marry Dario. And my mom's looking at me like you're 15. I said, I know, but I'm going to marry Dario. So at the age of 18, Dario had lost his eye. And my mom was concerned that, you know, you're going to marry someone with one eye. And when they lose their eye and lose their sight, your whole life will be as a caregiver. And she really worried about me because she didn't want me to be that caregiver. She thought, you better prepare yourself. And I says, I am, and I'm willing to take that challenge. So in May 1977, we were married. And oddly enough, he took care of me. He started taking care of me. He provided us with so many wonderful life experiences. He gave me 2 beautiful children, my daughter Candace, my son Jeffrey, and him. He gave me a house full of pets, and love, and laughter, and singing and dancing. He was always dancing with that stupid cigarette. And he was just took care of me when I was sick. I took care of him. We were a great team. And then, these guys know what the middle of my story was. We had so much fun. Our house was filled with so much laughter, so many people. Well, we had amazing trips. Florida with Andre. When Jeff's sister wouldn't come to Florida, Andre stepped in.
I was going to be in the city.
So we've always tried to have a great life. We built a life of love, security, and life was good. We had plans to retire early and enjoy each other's company down south. Life changed though. He retired early and his health began to decline. He had one good year, but he had a great year. And then his battle began with nerve damage in his feet. Couldn't feel his arms, tightening in his chest. He felt defeated. He started losing his sight just recently. He spent 12 hours in the emergency and they released him without care. He struggled and struggled. So now I retired to help him, and I've been doing this for 10 years. He struggled with chronic pain and the healthcare system, and he was waiting and waiting to get answers, to get relief. He was tortured. So here we are today, saying goodbye to a devoted husband, father, and Nono. He loved you, Kai, so much. You can jump now, Kai, you can jump. Kai would come in and Nono would say, Kai, don't jump, honey, don't jump. The floor makes my feet hurt. And then Kai would be really quiet and he'd go, trying not to upset Nono. Kai saw Nono on his bed the other day. He ran upstairs, where's Nono? He says, he's upstairs, and you could hear Nono saying, Kai, please don't jump, don't jump. So he's running up the stairs to give Nono a big hug and kiss. So we're here now to say goodbye to this beautiful man, a man who created so many wonderful memories for us to keep alive. And now he's in God's grace, reunited with our son Jeffrey. Our love story doesn't end, my little cowboy. It's just till we meet again. I love you, dear, forever and always. I love you, Candace. I love you. This is my new Dario. And this is my new son, Jeff.
How do I squeeze 44 years of love and memories into 3 minutes? Dario was my first love. He was the man that set the bar for every other man that came into my life after him.